Greetings. Today is Sunday, December 4th. Happy holidays. And I have the pleasure of presenting a book writer, my spiritual mom, a lady, when I say who has the essence of womanhood, the essence of genuineness, sincerity. I mean, a lady who just gets it. I am just kind of awed and speechless just to even just think about how well I know her gifts and blessings of wisdom and knowledge. And
wow, what a gracious introduction. And I can't even imagine not living up to that. So thank you so much for speaking into me, for speaking over me, and saying those things, because so often we don't hear that type of reverence in terms of us living in what we're here to give in the earth. So thank you so much for recognizing it, and I live for it.
May you give the title of your book, and I'll leave a link to purchase her book in the description.
Sure. All right. The first book is Above Sea Level. It is an introspective view on life above what we actually see. And it is a book that has 120 quotes on the inside of it, out of 171 of them that have been coined by me and that are registered in the United States Library of Congress.
Oh,
and
wow.
The second book is on its way out, and it is Beyond Sea Level. So that means that it is certainly beyond what we see. And even though the Bible says that we are the sum total of everything that we hear and we see and experience, we want to make sure that we stay in God's realm when we are thinking and making some decisions.
It's amazing. And this is going to kind of lead into the purpose of this message today. So water has a lot to deal with the emotions. It's like if you're drowning, if you have a dream about drowning, it's like you're emotionally full or, out of sorts. And, there's a scripture that says when the enemy comes like a flood, God comes. And just looking at all these references of water, even the rain coming down to bless you, like the rain comes because it waters the ground so things can grow. At any rate, we're going to talk about relationships today, and we're going to talk about sometimes emotions have us creating fantasies and fallacies of things that are not reality. And we're going to talk about how some people are getting it and some people are not getting it. And this is one lady who definitely does get it. She was telling me about a date she had with a friend and was going to there was some expensive tickets for this event. And I'm good. 285. It's quicker now. 75.
The game is up today. Okay.
Oh, okay, cool. See, that's the help me. See, I'm sitting up here questioning. Let me get over this because we're going to a destination. So anyway, she's, she explained that she paid a portion of the tickets and was saying that I can't expect his money to be my money, and he works just as hard as I do and makes money just like I make money, so I should never.
For the same purpose.
Right. Let me let you take that over.
Yeah. For the same purpose of spending it and entertaining thyself. So to give somewhat of a backdrop, I was raised where manners, of course, trumped almost everything, right? And in other words, if there's a place for it, you put things back. If you open it, you close it, you pick it up and put it down and do it. So everything had a place. And manners, of course, always showed that going to invite you to dinner, it is incumbent upon me to pay for it because I extended that invitation. Well, in dating, that gets to be kind of a sticky area of he who invites pays all the time, because sometimes you want somebody to go with you, and it's not that you can afford to pay it. You actually want their company to go, and they pay for their own way, you know. So this happens to be an opportunity where the gentleman, who is certainly a gentleman, asked if I wanted to go to a show, and the subject kind of dropped, and then I found the tickets and said, yes, would you like for me to get them? He then in turn said that he would pick the tickets up. So long story short, I felt like because the conversation had kind of volleyed itself back and forth, that it was not one of those things that rested in his lap for him to pay for both of the tickets. So when I arrived to see to meet him, I actually put my half of the ticket purchase in a nice card and gave it to him to thank him for purchasing the tickets. What that was doing was letting him know that I was not taking it for granted that just because he was the man in this, because remember, both of us said something about the tickets, just because he was the man, that it was his total responsibility to take care of me in reference to the ticket, because I wanted to go as well as him wanting to go also.
And this reminds me of another conversation we had. She was telling me that, you know, just taking people for granted on both sides. Neither party should be taken for granted, because we both bring to the table. And she was just talking about a lot of modern women today have this expectation that they don't have to invest anything, which if you don't invest anything into the relationship, it's so easy to leave. And it was go ahead.
So let me say it like this. So the way that I look at it is that when a man is dating a woman, not necessarily courting her, but dating her, and those are two different things. So when a man is dating,
can you explain? Because a lot of people don't know the difference.
Okay, so dating to me would be getting to know someone. In the dating culture, I believe, this is my belief, is that if I am getting to know him and he is getting to know me, then on that particular exchange or interactions, it is not his responsibility to take care of everything while we are getting to know each other. Because if it is, what it says is that he will pay to get to know me, and I will get to know him for free. So it kind of throws the relationship already from the beginning off balance. So the way that I was raised is that if I am inclusive in the dating process, when it is time for him to actually court me, he has an opportunity to then show how he can take care of me, and then it is all on his own. Because back in the golden days, it was, can you take care of her? Well, if a guy has to prove that he can take care of you just to get to know you, then he loses when it's time for him to be able to say he can take care of you when it's in a relationship. And he should not have to prove twice that he can take care of you. One, dating is to get to know you, and that is a shared finance. Then when it is time, of course, for him to say that he can take care of you, then he will. And then you sit back and you allow that to happen.
Taught me something today, because I thought dating and courting was the same thing.
It is not.
Yeah, courting has the intention of moving forward for, I would say, a monogamous relationship.
Correct. Right.
Whereas dating is just to see if we're
compatible.
We're compatible. We like each other.
Have
right.
things in common. If we sure.
And you know what? The safety that makes that with women, I don't have to have expectation physically. Right. Because I paid my part,
right?
Or you treated, I treated, so there's no,
there's no owing of anything,
right? So,
and if a woman is smart, she would do that just because she would not want to have to pay that tab with sex. So, ladies, I'd like to tell you, so don't build a tab that you're not willing to pay with your body when you really can just pay with your pocket.
Or just saying you're not interested.
Yes. Or say you're just not interested.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right? And it was another point you brought up. It was like, guys, you have to be careful what you create. Because if you create a monster that you don't create an antidote, then you have to take responsibility for creating that monster. And if there's no expectation of reciprocity in the beginning, then you have to take responsibility for that burden, because that's what you did. And I am guilty of that. I'm guilty of being the giver, the doer of so much that I've created a monster that, like, when I don't have it, then it's a problem. And she brought that to light to me. It's like, have some expectation in the beginning, some give and take. Relay the process of relationship, the process of giving and taking, relationship with having some common destination. So after the dating and courting, obviously there's a relationship established, so there must be some give and take. And if there's no expectation or conversation about give and take, reciprocity, or relating to one another, then when things happen, you create unwritten rules that there's supposed to be things created all the time.
So let me give a shout out to all of the good men. Let me say that. And I think that there is a cheering that should be happening, because we say, women, we are looking for a good man. All right, so let me put a period right there. We say that we're always looking for a good man, period. Not a comma, period, right? And so with that, when men want to be good, and they're made in the image of God, and they are good, and they want to live up to this, what we say is a good man. Oftentimes what happens is gentlemen, that you all prove this in a lot of ways because you want us to recognize it. And so you go into this proving, which means you go into the lab and you begin to work on what you're doing and how it's going to come out. And you're building this monster. Remember, now you're creating a monster. But while you're doing this, really what you're doing is trying to show us how good you are. But if you have not already established the fact that they will even recognize your goodness, then what you're doing is creating a monster. And you're not creating the antidote while you're inside this lab, of course, as well. So all I'm saying is, I think that when you're good, that it certainly should be seen. But I think that you should be very careful how far overboard you go with proving it and the other person, because imagine it's just like football. You're pushing it down the field. The more you go over the 50-yard line, the further back they go. The more you go over the next 40, the further back they go. They say push them back, way back. We used to do a cheer like that. Push them back, way back. So when you're doing that, you're pushing them back. You're pushing them back from that 50-yard line. So you just have to be mindful about how far away you want to push them back, unless they understand that what you're doing is not pushing them back, you're just meeting them there.
I was listening to Michelle Obama as she stated in the marriage, which is different than just dating or courting or in a monogamous relationship. In marriage, it's rarely going to be 50-50 until you get older and more time has been spent to raise a family and go through the life process. So she says, if you're having children, ladies specifically, you have to be willing to pull back some to have that child, those 9 months of carrying, as well as when the child is born, that time that you have to take off. You have to be willing to push back on your career to help raise that child. And the male has to increase in the service of the wife and the home and whatever financial burdens are coming this way or that way. And she even took it a degree further. There has to be some understanding of, just look at President Obama. She had to pull her career back a little bit to help him run for president. But look at what the prize was. The prize was him becoming the first black male president under the United States Constitution. So with that, there was a end goal and a reward for that. Even if they didn't make it, it still was, guess what? I have your back. We are supporting each other. And
let me say this too. I also think that sometimes we don't use all of our words, and the words that we use are not necessarily the words that really depict what we're really feeling and we're saying. So just in what you were saying, she had to pull back. So the connotation of pulling back sounds negative because I got to move back for you to move front or so. Those kind of comparisons and thought, of course, doesn't sound good. It makes somebody feel some kind of way. But what if we reworded it and said what she was willing to do was to reset her career? Or what if she was willing to reposition, right? Where she was right now in their lives, and then take a different position so that they could do something else. And then, of course, he would take a different position at some other time for them to do something else, versus I do this for you, you do this, we do this, and taking the positions so that where we're going, it actually works.
And the key thing is they're a team.
Right.
And, you know, once you're married, you have given up rights to each other, to give each other the advantage, to help each other, to promote the family. We are one. And that's the, you know, it's kind of like when God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, when Jesus said we are one, it's we are one mind. You have Jesus the Son, you have God the Father, and you have the Holy Spirit. So there are three different entities in one vision, one mission. There's no division between us. So in the marriage, when the two become one, it's not just in the intercourse of becoming one, it is in the mind of we are one. We have one goal. We have one family vision. Now, I can be the contractor and she can be the interior decorator or whatever our differences are, but at the end of the day, hey Mike, I need you to help deliver this. Baby, I'm with you, I got you. Hey Linda, help me out with, you know, getting this coordinated or whatever. Hey baby, I got you. That's the oneness we're talking about. It's not saying you are not being yourself anymore. You still have those creative, unique, eccentric, whatever individual identities that you have, but the oneness is we are a team.
So where do you think that the issue comes in? Where do you think that we lose the fact that we separate are one? Because that's really what we're saying. It's almost an oxymoron. We separate are one.
The issue becomes, and we become selfish. We're not willing to make the love sacrifices. The selfishness is, I have this fantasy of, I'm looking on social media and looking at other folks, trying to keep up with the Joneses, looking at other folks, you know, living their painted life. And I'm gonna say painted life because everything that is posted is not real. So when we look at these things and we create these ideals or fantasies and fallacies of what we want to do that contrast with the reality. Let's say we are at a certain level of income. So getting a $1 million home may not be within our reality. However, maybe we can, you know, set aside and create a budget and a financial plan, and even some courses. I mean, some training or whatever we need to do to develop our skills or start a business or something to create new streams of income so that we can have this goal, this vision, but it needs to be reasonable.
Well, let me say this. I mean, I think that those specifics and that itemized list is further down the road if we do not start at the beginning with saying, are we equally yoked?
Oh yeah.
Are we? Do we have the same? Do we have the same value system?
Right.
Because the value system will determine a lot of things that you will not have to even discuss. Because if I value our morning time without allowing any outside distractions in it, and your morning time is up and TV on and news on and all of that, then our value system for our morning hours is different. So we're going to have a conflict. If I value us sitting at the table for 6 o'clock dinner and you rather eat late and out or so, then our value system of the time for dinner time is different. So I think that from the beginning, I think that there is a great idea to establish what your value systems are for the things that are going to be incorporated.
And, you know, I'm going to say this. You need to have your vision for your life posted up, you know, like a vision board. You need, and that's good to share with potential mates. Once you have reached a certain level of safety and sharing. So
why don't we get personal?
okay.
Why don't we get personal? Why don't you share with your audience one thing that would be on your vision board?
Oh, I mean, that's easy.
Okay. All right.
My vision board is debt freedom, travel the world with my mate, eat at different spots, just explore together and grow together, grow through the journey of the evolution of our lives in terms of, I'm 40, so just looking at however the changes go and we grow through them, because eventually menopause will come. Eventually I will not be as physically assertive as I'll be, or what have you. So, with all that, it's just as we grow through these things, and not just to say those things. And I notice one thing I did not say: ailments. I did not say ailments, because I'm not speaking that over myself. But just the mental changes, the retirement coming up, the house being paid off, the empty nest occurring, all these things that are changing that we can grow through, the children graduating school, the things like that.
Let's go back, because you're taking out, and you will do an itemization list. I tell you.
Yeah, right. I get detail, right?
Down the list,
and you bring me right back in.
So we're coming all the way back. We're coming back, and you said debt free, the freedom was one, travel was another. What if the person that you meet says, "I don't ever want to fly"? Right there.
Well, road trip.
Okay, all right, okay. So did you notice how you repositioned how you would travel?
Now,
you didn't say all your travel had to be by air,
right.
But right then you would have to know that level of traveling that you were thinking about on your vision board is now going to be limited to anywhere we can drive.
Right.
It's not going. That means that it's going to be excluded to places that we have to fly.
Well, and the beauty of it is, my mate loves to fly, so I don't.
But I was saying that in terms of establishing the relationship and being and deciding what the value system is of what it, what those things are, and then maybe somewhere along the way you would have to say, it is very valuable to me before I leave this earth that I see Africa or China or Japan, or something, and then you would ask your mate, would you be willing to trust me with flying on a plane so that I can have that opportunity? So I'm saying those are the kind of things that we're talking about with the vision board and getting to repositioning for the other one to be able to meet their stuff. That's what we're talking about.
Right. And then also, that's just my personality, but for the next person, you have to make that judgment call for yourself. I cannot dictate. We're giving you practical life strategies to make wise decisions. At the end of the day, you have to make decisions that you can live with, that bring you peace. And one thing I'm learning in a lot of relationships, some people are not getting peace. I know of different ladies who are past 35 who have had no children at all, and that is a
life goal for them.
A life goal for them. I know a lot of people who have given their lives to other people, i.e. businesses, relationships, or whatever, and have not had the opportunity to have a family, to have somebody to have their back or support them, to bring them a cup of water. If they have a surgery, who's going to take care of them? Are your parents still around to help take care of you, or are you taking care of your parents? It's just things to think about as we get older and we try and live these modern lifestyles that are not biblically based, that are not safe for. And when I say safe, having multiple partners on a regular basis, this what do they call it? Not swinging. This was it 304 lifestyle, or I'm just dating. I forget the new term that is called, but it's just dating. Whether it's looking for the next person to financially take care of you until they get tired of you, or have you.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that with men with being the ticket. We talked earlier about the tool, right? How we realize, and we have noticed in this life, that men have become this ticket for a woman to get to all the things that she actually wants to do or where she wants to go, without realizing that she has to be a ticket or a tool as well, right?
Going back to the equal investment
right.
into the relationship. And hey, there's some gigolos out here, for lack of a better term. There's some guys who take advantage of women and use them as a ticket as well. So we want to make sure that we are not just...
Well, that comes with choosing well too.
Right.
So choose well, and avoid that. So we're saying, in the general lane of meeting people or so, I just think it has to be one of those things where we are willing to do unto others as we have them do unto you. Just do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Be good to other people as you would want them to be good to you.
Yeah, and that's a key thing right there. That cuts down a lot of arguments. Are you willing to give what you expect in a relationship? Are you really willing to give what you expect? If you are expecting someone to bless you financially, are you willing to bless them financially? If a guy usually takes care of the financial things and something happens where unexpected bill pops up, are you willing to chip in for that? Is your money and the other party's money their money, and there's no coming together of those funds? I mean,
So how do you do that in this new life? I happen to be from the old school, so it was simply easy for me. But how do you do it in this new day and age?
Well, I mean, with my queen, I mean, she pays for a lot of things pretty regularly. There's something that I'm a doer. So if there's trash in the house, before I leave, it's coming out with me. If there's something that needs to be done, we usually tag team on it. We'll wash dishes together, just different projects. If something needs to be done, we work on it together. I mean, she even helps me, even with my business from time to time, even if it's bringing me lunch, on a job site or something like that. So it's a very mutual relationship, where
mutually exclusive is what they call it.
So I am very thankful for reciprocity, just to get personal. And I don't usually talk about my mate. This is probably the first time I've talked about my mate on the show, but I mean, so let me ask you this. How did you get to this? Was it an automatic? Was it a discussion? Was it an agreement? How did you get to it? It was her character. Matter of fact, our kids were playmates, and we weren't even trying to date or anything. It was just, friends and spending time around each other, and just through conversation, the attraction arose. And I mean, it's her genuine character. I mean, and I will say certain things. We have had some conversations that have confronted some of the actions that we felt needed to grow. But it was a conversation. It wasn't an argument. It wasn't a fallout or anything like that.
Have you ever read the book The Art of War?
I've heard of it.
There's an art to it. When you said there is no argument or so, there's an art to war, which if you ever read it, you really find out that there's an art to love, there's an art to conversation, there's an art to having a conversation or so. But the basic part is in the book Art to War. What it teaches is that when you are at a situation or a crossroads, And if you keep the main thing, what you are confronting, the topic, and not go back and drag into it anything else from left to right, front to center, and do it and create that, you will see that particular thing will be resolved very quickly. So the art of war is that if I say to you that I wish that you would drive faster, and you say, well, I didn't say anything to you the other day. The other day when you were driving slow, right? Right then, you've already created a larger situation than it really was from the beginning, because the other day when I was driving slow, you had the opportunity to say something to me then, and you opted out. So your opt-in is not when I say something, because I'm taking my opportunity to say something to you about it. You do not get to opt yours in at this point, because you've already, as what we call it, you've already given it up. Most of the time what happens is people wait for that. When someone else brings something up, they bring up what they think when they could have said it before. So the art of that is not going to get anything to defend a current situation. Go with it because they thought enough to bring it up. They were willing to talk about it or so. And now you have to go into that one and talk about it as if you had no other thoughts about it previously.
And I like to interject boundaries and self-actualization. Do you love yourself enough to know yourself and speak up for yourself on things that make you uncomfortable or not? If you cannot speak up for yourself, and you don't have to lash out to do this, and a lot of people feel like it has to be a war,
yes,
just to say, hey, I don't like that.
Right.
And
it's just like people who think they have to get drunk to get mad. You know how they always say that's when you're going to tell your truth, and you really don't. You do not have to deliver difficult information in a bad way,
or get drunk to be intimate.
I don't understand.
Meaning like I have to get drunk just to feel in the mood to do certain things, or even to communicate, so I can.
Well, that's where the courage comes in, I think. Why they say liquor brings you courage.
Right. I'm just saying there's other extremes. Yeah. So tag team, and establishing boundaries to say, this is something that I don't want to do. This is where I draw the line on, and doing that early in the relationship. And even if you evolve into that, is this it? The next one, okay. Yeah, even if that becomes an evolution of the relationship, where I recognize that I don't like to do that anymore. Like I used to could tolerate people smoking, but now it's just a no-go. You smoke, I can't tolerate that.
Right.
You're not gonna smoke in my car. If you smoke away from me or whatever, but you're not gonna smoke in my car. You're not gonna smoke in my house or what have you. So, whoa, sorry, right? Hold on.
This has been so good. It's been so good. I hope it is beneficial to anyone and everyone who gets an opportunity to listen into it.
Right. So we're gonna sign off. Thank you for your time. God bless you in your establishment of boundaries, self-love, not selfishness, but self-love. Remember, love is an action for the other party to receive.
How about the golden rule?
Right.
Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.
Right. And that's where we're going to close. Thank you.